Welcome back Inside Uplift Property Management. Property managers have an extensive network of trusted vendors, and here at Uplift, we really like to highlight vendors who have just been above and beyond in their service to Uplift and all of our clients. And today I'm here with Sandra from Vert Environmental, and we're just gonna highlight Vert and talk a little bit about what you guys do. So Sandra, tell me a little bit about yourself, how you started with Vert, and a little bit about what does Vert do?
Great. Hi everyone, Sandra with Vert. I've been with the company about 5 years now, which I'm so excited to announce that it was yesterday, my 5-year anniversary. And prior to that, I was in radio, did that 20 years, and I just fell into this company because my girlfriend said, hey, there's a position here, and I interviewed and I just learned, every step of the way, just kind of learning a little bit more and more about what it is in environmental testing, the steps you need to take in order to get things done within the company. But I've been here for about 5 years now, and I'm enjoying being a sales representative for them, doing marketing and sales, developing businesses and relationships with all of our clients, and I think it's great.
Awesome. Well, what is environmental testing and why is it important?
Well, environmental testing is when you have a project that you need to demo. You're going to disturb any kind of material. You want to go in and test it first because you want to be compliant with the regulations. You want to make sure that you're not, there's not causing any hazardous materials to be airborne in an environment. So what you need to do first of all is you need to go in, test it, take the sampling back to the laboratory, and whatever those findings are, we give those back to the mitigation company or the property manager. That company will take that and then do what they need to do with it, whether they need to go to abatement or they need to go to restoration, just to kind of get the job done. You want to just rule out any asbestos, lead, mold, bacteria, all those different hazardous things that can harm you or the tenant.
Okay. So how do homeowners and property managers protect themselves from liability, and why is this protection so important? Well,
first of all, it's very important to test so that you know what you're dealing with. You want to hire a certified asbestos consultant or a certified technician that can come in there and take the samples. Because if people are just taking the samples into the lab, they can't really share those findings. They need to be certified. That's one way. The second way is keeping a file of the findings, the report. Once you get these once they take the samples and they have the findings, always keep the paperwork on them, because you never know when you're going to need it. Someone's going to ask you, oh, you tested for asbestos, where did you test? So it's very important to make sure you have the paperwork. Make sure you hire a licensed certified technician to do it, or a company that can do it for you. And that's so important. Always test. You want to make sure you're testing for asbestos, lead, and it just depends on what you're dealing with, whatever the scope is. And when you're testing, you make sure you hired the right person. Make sure they're certified. And those are the key things. You want to make sure and the fact that you keep the paperwork. Yeah. Because that paperwork is important. Oh, you did it? I want to see that. And if they don't have it, we can't properly identify that.
When should homeowners and property managers be doing this testing? Like, what kind of jobs require testing?
Any job that you're going to do any kind of demo, if you're going to disturb any material, like let's just say someone's going to redo their bathroom. If it's like a planned project, make sure you get that testing scheduled. Another time you want to get testing done is when there's an emergency. There's a water damage, fire, any kind of emergency. You want to get a hygienist in there so that you can have this laboratory data, so that, because you can assume, but you want to make sure you have the findings and you're not just assuming, because you just never know. And you want to make sure that when you send someone out that they're certified and they know what to do and where to sample. I think that's so important, because you don't want to mess around with your health or your well-being. You're living in this space.
So what's the difference between initial testing and clearing testing, and why are they both important?
Okay, so initial testing is when you want to identify the hazardous materials. And then you've identified them, we've gone in there, we've taken the samples, we've taken them back to the lab, you've received your reporting, and now you have all this. Once you have that information, we know whether or not you're going to need abatement or not. Right. And if it tested positive for asbestos or lead, you're going to need an abatement contractor in there to remove the materials, and then you're going to have to clear it. It's just to verify the work. You want to make sure that, you know, they removed all of the hazardous materials that they found in the originally. And this takes away the liability as well. Like if you have you had mold in the property, and the company that came to do the removal of the mold, at the very end, you want to make sure that you verified their work. Right. Just because you don't want anyone to come back, oh, there's still mold in there, and it just takes away the liability from someone else saying, oh no, there's still some health risks here. And I definitely think clearing that property is so important. And then you have that paperwork. Yeah. You have the certificate saying, hey, we had Vert Environmental come out here, they cleared it, so we're in the clear. It takes away liability from you.
So what are the potential risks of skipping initial or clearing testing?
I strongly advise you not to skip that, because there's just so many unknowns. You might be disturbing asbestos, you're not sure, which can cause health risks to your occupants or to the workers that are doing the work in the property. And then you've contaminated the place, which, you know, then you have to take these extra steps. So I highly recommend not skipping testing. It's just an open can of worms, you know. The liability is on you now, and you have to deal with that. And so you have the risk of contaminating the property.
What are some nightmare stories that you could tell us about your time in this industry? Anything that you've seen, any of your projects?
Well, I can share that there's been times where people haven't tested, and the city comes and they see that something's going on, and they said, oh, where's your asbestos report? Where's, I need this survey. Yeah. And they don't have it. So then when they come out, they send someone out there to do it, it tests positive, and now they have a contamination assessment that they have to deal with. Another time I've had a nosy neighbor call on someone power washing their house, and then the lead chips fall into the soil. The city comes and tests that soil, and it's positive for lead, and they have to deal with a fine, and they have to get it abated. Yeah. So it's a huge risk that you're taking. It's it's kind of like if you're driving on the freeway, and you may or may not get a speeding ticket if you're speeding. You just don't want to take that chance. Yeah. You don't want to take that chance on your property. Risking that. I mean, you just don't want to put anyone in that predicament, especially yourself. Right. I highly recommend taking the right steps at the beginning, so that you don't have to go back and say, oh my gosh, and then I didn't know. They're not going to care if you didn't know. Yeah. They're going to fine you no matter what. It's so important to make sure that you're getting that environmental test done, so that you know whether or not you have hazardous materials that you're dealing with. And then you can just, feel at ease that you're doing the right thing, and it doesn't take too much to give us a call or email us, and we'll get out there right away, and we'll make sure you guys are taken care of. Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for being here. We at Uplift, we have loved our relationship with Vert. I know if you have any testing needs, in the description of this video, we're going to go ahead and post their contact information. And always feel free to reach out to us here at Uplift Property Management as well.
Yes, thank you.